Welcome to Unstuck, out of your cave, into your call. Today we're talking about re-envisioning your life storyboard. I want to ask you a question. What is the mental image that you are currently letting define your life? You see, we all have a mental image, and we play a role in that mental picture that we live with. Some of us have a mental image in which we're the underdog, the victim, and so we take on a victim's mentality. I believe that sometimes God's image of us is at odds with our image of ourselves. In 1 Kings chapter 19, Elijah has succumbed to a distorted view, a wrong storyboard of his life. Elijah was in a cave, complaining to God about his reality. He painted a picture of himself alone, a frustrated prophet, fruitless, everybody against him, and abandoned by most people. Yet when God encountered him, God rewrote his image of the picture that God saw. And God said, Elijah, you're going to be successful. You're going to have a successor. You're going to conquer. And by the way, Elijah, there's 7,000 other people who have not bowed their knee to the idol gods. In other words, God was repainting Elijah's mental image of himself. Months ago, I had a young couple that came into my office. And they hadn't been married long, and they had started out strong. She married a good Christian man, and they both were following Jesus. Things were going well, but her husband made a few decisions that caused her to lose trust in him. And she sat down and she said, I don't see myself anymore as this radiant bride. I said, well, how do you see yourself? And she said, I see myself as a bruised, battered, broken bride. And I can't get that image out of my mind. I can't seem to regain it. I walked over to the wall and I said, let's erase this image. And I figuratively erased that image from the wall. And I said, this is the image that I see. I see the image of a warrior bride. Oh yeah, you're a little bit bruised, and maybe there's some dirt on your bride dress, but you are fighting for the destiny of your marriage. I see a woman that's brave, that's committed, that's full of faith, that's valiant, that's fighting for the destiny of something that she believes in. I see a different image. She walked out of my office, and I ran into her a few months later, and she said, Pastor, I've been living with the image, that new image of a warrior bride that's strong and valiant. And she said, I've been approaching my life in a different way. You see, the image that we have of our reality affects how we live. I want to ask you a question. What image are you living with? What image have you allowed to be drawn of yourself? Do you have to erase some bad images and start to redraw your image according to the way that God sees you? Is there a place where you need to come to God and say, God, how do you see me, and where do I fit in your storyboard? I believe for some of us, it's time to start living with a new image so that we can get out of our cave of self-pity and darkness and move into the call that God has for us.